Hello, citizens of Lynchburg. Welcome back. Come on, hurry up. Let's get going. We've got to go to a performance. We're going to be watching Mr. Wynter Benda perform the 2027 operating budget. Let's grab a seat. This should be really good because we've given him so many raises since he's come here that he now earns over $300,000 a year, which is more than any other paid employee of the government in Lynchburg and possibly the state of Virginia and many other states. So let's get going. Grab your popcorn. Come on.
Tonight, I present to you the proposed fiscal year 2027 operating budget and the fiscal year 2027 through 2031 capital improvement program for the city of Lynchburg. As always, this moment represents a milestone in a process that never truly stops. As always, we evaluated revenue projections, monitored economic conditions, and balanced operational needs with long-term capital planning. This year's budget is guided by a clear and intentional theme, a year of maintenance, momentum, and celebration.
Okay, so we're halfway through, and that was his intro. And now we're going to talk about the slides because the bulk of the presentation is on these PowerPoint slides that you see above you. And we want to talk about the word cadence because if you notice how he's speaking in a rhythmic fashion with emphasis and emotion. That's called cadence. And when you use that in public presentations, it's often to mask the fact that you really have nothing to say. So you're capturing people's attention and their emotions, but in fact, you're not really saying anything. And if you look at these slides, what he basically did for the bulk of his important presentation on the operating budget was just to read these PowerPoint slides, which I could do. I could read those. But he didn't talk in detail about the money. He also didn't give any mention of the people in all the departments who make all these things possible. He kind of took all the credit for himself. But we know that the reason the city functions at all is because we have hardworking people in the various departments, in the airport, in the water department, doing these tunnels, all the things that are going on in our infrastructure. But none of that was mentioned. But the main point is that he read a bunch of PowerPoint slides. There was no financial data, no analysis. Now, if you want to listen to the entire presentation, you can go to these websites right here. You can always watch city council meetings, and they're on Facebook and they're on YouTube as well. So let's see what the conclusion is. But at this point, I kind of want my money back.
This year is about sustaining what we've built, protecting core services, and ensuring residents see and feel the return on those investments.
Yes, Marty.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Point of information, the increase in the Lynchburg City Schools operating budget to $2.1 million.
News is we've got a budget retreat scheduled for April 3rd at 9 a.m. and we'll discuss that at that point.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
This is a calendar, so if you want to find out more about the budget and if it will, in fact, ever be delivered, because it wasn't delivered last year until the day that it was due, you could go to some of these meetings. So think about it. Well, that's what we've spent our money on. And it reminds me of when I was teaching, sometimes you would get students who were really playing you. They'd come to the first class and then they'd come up and talk to you and tell them how interested they were in the class and how fascinating it was. But you'd never see them again till last week. And they didn't really have any reasons for why they didn't attend, but they wanted to get an A and they were going to do their presentation. And it would be just like this. It was clear they had read maybe the beginning, the first chapter of their textbook, but nothing else. So this was an empty budget performance, and I would give it an F. So you have to think about that because you're paying for that. But really, we didn't get last year any discussion of revenue. We didn't get any in-depth analysis of anything. And we had things happening in the capital improvement plan, like Miller Park Pool for $10.5 million. to be completely demolished, although Jacqueline Timmer had shown that it could be totally restored for $500,000, $10 million less. She had actually gone and spoken to the engineers who are responsible for the pool, and they said, "Oh yeah, you know, $500,000 and it's completely operable." Well, another issue is that this $10.5 million Miller Park pool project, the pool's hardly ever open because Mr. Benda said there was no money for staff. So there's a lot of things going on with your tax dollars that deserve a lot more attention. So bye for now. See you next time.